Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the Bureau of Parks and Special Meeting, May 27, 2026 at 7 p.m. In attendance, we have Mrs. Brady, Stephanie Mersey, Jim Vasileva,
Here.
Steve Buza,
Present.
Josh Mitchell,
Here.
Mayor Kelly,
Present.
Jean Allen, here, Bob Shields,
Here.
Solicitor Drew Fuller,
Here.
Junior Council Member our public comment. I believe we have you
Oh, there you go.
first
All right.
to do that.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Spatz. I was here probably a year ago around this time. Again, my name is Mark Spatz. I'm with Hillside Park, Abington Area Joint Recreation. Mark Spatz. We were here last year and last summer got the parking lot paved at the community center through the borough CDBG funds to get those spent because those were expiring at the end of that year. I have a packet in front of you guys that has some numbers on the front, but then there's some photos in there as well. And those are just some, just wanted to provide those. Those are the first couple of photos and the first couple of pages is the parking lot as it existed. Then it goes into some photos during construction. You can see there was on the page 3 of the photos there's some at the bottom there where they had to cut full depth pavement out to fix and repair the pavement was there. So it was more extensive effort than just an overlay. The parking lot was in more deterioration than that. You can see some other photos during construction. Some drainage trenches were added and drainage to remedy the problem long term because that's what breaks up pavement. So we were able to not only fix the problems that were there, but make it better for the future so those problems don't come back. And then there's just some photos of them during construction. You can see some equipment. And then at the end, you can see the finished parking lot. And the very last photo has an aerial view of the new parking lot with the new striping. So as we know, that's a borough. The park is borough-owned property. There's 5 municipalities that own the park. The borough is one of those municipalities. 30 to 50% of the people that attend the senior center, depending on what the activity is in the day, are from the borough. So the funds that were used for that were contributed from the borough CDBG funds, and they went to good use. These were tripping hazards, the cracks and things. We got a lot of complaints before the parking lot was done. People with walkers and things, they were, it was a rough surface to get over and that kind of thing. So I know all the seniors were very appreciative and wanted to serve the borough's property and obviously the constituency of the borough that it's in the city. We have, last year we talked about additional CDBG projects. The borough approved a pavilion concrete project. Again, this is at Hillside Park. The pavilion under or over the lake with the blue roof on it. There's concrete underneath that's unlevel. We get people tripping. It's a trip hazard. It doesn't meet ADA compliance. There's some issues. So the borough voted to allocate $75,000 of CDBG funds to that project. That got approved by the state. I designed that pro bono. I'm a civil engineer for the park. That went out to bid. We got the bids back. Instead of $75,000, our low bid was $58,000. And I think by the time we're all said and done, because there's some allocation for miscellaneous utility things in that, just to be conservative, I think it's going to end up more around $50,000 for that project. So $25,000. We were thinking it was going to be $70,000, $75,000. The borough allocated $75,000 CDBG funds. We're going to probably end up using about $25,000 less than that of those CDBG funds for that project. So it came in, the little bit came in on the budget by a decent amount, by almost 75%. So that is a project that we just made a recommendation to award to the county. So the county is the one that actually bids that for the CDBG funds. The county will be drafting up documents for that and coming to the next borough council meeting on the 3rd. So June 3rd, Joe Brzezinski from Lackawanna County will be here. There's typically an agreement It's the same agreement that we did the paving under. And it's an agreement that the borough executes with the county to facilitate that project, including the construction. Again, it's the same form, just different project name, different obviously dollar amount, things like that. So that's something to expect for the upcoming borough council meeting. We asked that would be on the agenda, that we need to get that project approved. We are up against, again, a funding deadline. So on the paving project, we needed to expend 2020 funds before the end of September, or they would have went back to the state. And we were really successful doing that with the paving work that got done last year. Under that same deadline, there's 2020 funds that now will expire in near the end of 2026. Those were going to expire in February, but the county was able to get that extended out to the fall. So we are under a pressure deadline. So that's why I'm bringing that up, so you understand that this meeting coming up, we do need to hopefully take action as a group project. We just need to follow through with the rest of it. In addition to that, there was a senior center improvements project that the borough approved for $120,000 to make repairs inside the center, repointing the brick. There's drywall on the patio that's falling down. There's some mechanical equipment that's failed. The front door, which is like a sliding, like a grocery store door, is aged, out of its useful life, doesn't work consistently. It is somewhat of a real nuisance because sometimes it doesn't open fast and you like kind of run into it because you're used to it, and then all of a sudden it doesn't, and it's weird. But they're expensive. Like that door is like $30,000 all by itself. So next time you go to the grocery store, take a look at that nice door they have, and like, that's $30,000. So more expensive than I thought they would have been. So improvements like that. So those were approved. The park worked to get that project approved by the state. That was done in February, and then Park hired Highland Associates to go through the center and pull the bid docs together. Again, as a civil engineer, I kind of stop typically at the building in my profession. So once you get inside the building, I can fake it so I make it kind of, but it's not my bailiwick. Highland Associates, they design buildings, they have expertise there. So the park allocated funds out of its budget to hire Highland to do that work. We did that. They went through the center itself, pulled together bid documents and plans. That went out to bid as well. That is currently out to bid. Will either be due, bids will be received by the end of this week, or where there's some addendums and stuff like that that may get pushed a little bit, but bids are going to be received very soon here for that project as well. As Highland was going through the building, a couple factors. It's a year later. It was almost a year ago. Some other stuff came up, and again, our assessment of what the building needed was based on me and our grounds guy. I just explained I'm not a building expert, but I am an engineer and I can see like drywall falling down and things like this door not working. So that, as Highland went through the building, they found some other items that really need to be addressed. We included those additional items in the bidding documents. So they are add alternate items in the bidding documents, right? So they're kind of like a la carte. So with bidding, imagine you're going to a buffet. There's a certain amount of food that you have to eat. That's your base bid. But then anything above you can do as an add alternate. That's kind of a la carte. You can get a second serving if you want, but you don't have to. So that's what these add alts are, these additional items. The cost for those add alternate items would add $100,000 to the project. So again, they're out for bid. We can choose to move forward with those items or not, but they are really necessary at the building. Okay, so that's really the main one of the main things I'm here for tonight is not only give council an update on all the good work that's being done and where your money, the CDBG money is being used for, and who it's benefiting and how it's benefiting the borough and its property its own, but to also bring up this additional work that the building needs. So one thing you might wonder, and it's the first piece on here, is there's a chart that shows funds, and it's sources and uses. And if I can just take a second to go through that, there's 2020 funds in a column here, as you can see on this side of the red, there's a short side of the red, and that had the 85,000 getting a little older here. 85,221 that needed to be spent, and that was done in the summer project. You can see where it says project, senior paving project. We were able to spend that and chew into some of the 2021 funds to draw those in, which is good. We get these funds spent where they go back. You can see that the Lakeside Pavilion project is allocated to use some of the 2021 funds. So that's this. Under the red column there, you can see the second project. And then the third project would be the senior repairs. And that would actually use funds from 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. That would get us, you know, it will be nice to not be working on impending really important deadlines every year. So that will get us out from under this constant rush once this senior center project goes through. And you can see in there, 2024 and 2025 funds been allocated for the crosswalk improvements within the borough. And Colwell Negley or CNA, from what I understand, is starting on that work or is working on that now. That's a little longer of a project because he has, I believe, PennDOT permitting, traffic study, and stuff that they need to do, but it just takes a little bit of time because, you know, with PennDOT, it's a state road, things of that nature. So this, you can see on here how for the senior repairs project, I've increased that cost to 220 and then spread that out, and then also add in the crosswalk project. And you can see at the end, the very end and the bottom over on this chart, the borough would still have $101,000 in unallocated, unused funds that we need to figure out. We have some time then after this senior repair project gets done to do that. So the borough has some time, but not under this constant, like you have to use these funds this year or they go back, you know, we'll get out from under that. But we need to be diligent about it over the next 2-3 years so we don't get back into that. So with, I guess what I'm asking you this evening, for the borough to consider, and I don't know if it would be I guess tonight's workshop, and it would be probably it'd be at the next week's meeting, is for consideration to allocate the additional $100,000 of CDBG funds to the senior repair project so we can get those important additional items that we discovered with Highlands Health, and some of which occurred over the last year, to get those fixed. One item was there's a heat pump that moves water to the new addition. That went out in February. It's $6,000 to fix that thing. It was still not warm in February. So we were like trying to keep it moving along and it was somewhat difficult. There were some days that were a little cold in the center. We learned that once the heat pump turns on, just leave it on. Like keep the thermostats up. Open the windows if it's too hot. Just to keep this thing going because you know, it's an expensive pump, and that's like, well, where is this coming? It's like, well, we didn't know that. Things like that. So they are important things, and some of it's to keep the heat on. You know, and I'd ask for the borough at this upcoming meeting to again allocate the additional funds for this project. They are in the bid docs now. Like I said, there are out of carte, so we could. You know, there's flexibility there, but I would be asking that to devote those resources to it. Is there any questions I can ask? Is there any questions on the proposal or past projects or anything?
And the other thing, just to kind of recap, is we also have to approve the agreement with the county next week on the pavilion project, and potentially there could be an agreement or up to several agreements related to the senior center as well, that could end up ready for us to consider next week as well.
Yeah, so the senior center project, and I'm not sure how the county handles that yet. Typically, like for the paving project, that's one contract. For the pavilion, that's one contract. But since the senior center is a municipally owned building, you are subject to the Separations Act, I think it's called. It has to do with unionized labor and stuff like that. So it has to be split into 4 contracts: a general, a mechanical, an electrical, and a plumbing. So there's 4 contracts in that. I don't know if the county is going to have one agreement for all 4 contracts or 4 separate agreements, but it's all on the same bid doc. It's just the 4 contracts. And the reason is there's a law from like 1919 or something like, it's an old, it's been around for, but it's common practice for municipal bid. So concerns,
Jen, are you gonna be meeting with Joe before our meeting next week?
Nope, we didn't have anything planned. Nope.
yeah, I would anticipate he's gonna be at the meeting. I will try to, make the meeting as well. Answer any questions, obviously, that we need to.
But basically, so that we can actually spend these funds before they expire on September 26th, we really have got to move these things forward next week. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd ask that if you have any concerns or questions, let's get that out over the next week. Jen, do you have my cell phone number? I will email Jen my cell phone number.
I'm not.
Josh definitely has my cell phone number. So if you guys, if there's any questions, comments, concerns that you need, I'm sure Josh, would be a good with it. Just call Jen and I'll show out my cell phone number, call me, just so, you guys are comfortable in making a decision either way, right?
Well, and I'll point out one other thing. I'm gonna actually have to depart in a couple minutes and go over to the 8th grade orchestra concert for my daughter, but I just wanna emphasize for us that Mark put this little chart together, which is super helpful. I think two of the things that sometimes come up when we talk about CDBG funds is, you know, the way that the contract is written with the county, it's a little, it's not great language. I think we ran into this last time about, well, what if the project goes over? Who's responsible for that? If it were to go over, we have extra money here where that wouldn't end up hitting our general fund. That's one point to make. And the other one is, you know, again, one of these projects already came in under, so we can actually assume that this number is gonna go up based on that. There's money left over for us to spend on a yet to be named project. That is something I think it's important for us to know, is we still have flexibility if another project that is eligible and worthwhile, eligible is always very hard, comes along, that we still have flexibility, We're not spending every penny we have. So,
Yeah,
certainly,
underlying eligibility is extremely hard. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of work to get these approved, even at the senior center, which is a presumed low to moderate income, like it meets that low to moderate income category. And handicap equipment still takes a lot. Like I have to write letters as a professional engineer to certify stuff about age of equipment and all kinds of stuff. So it's definitely, you just can't use this like, oh, you just use this money. It's not easy at all. But you know, that's the strings that come attached with this grant.
Actually, I have a little bit, so you said we have to spend money to 2021?
So we have to spend down 86,410 before the end of September. Oh, actually, so I'm sorry, 86,000 minus the 11. Yeah, minus the first row there, see that?
And that's, in order to get that done, that's why we really have to approve that contract next week. We were in this exact same boat last year. We approved the paving in this exact same contract, which is why Mark was here. And it got done just under the wire.
Yes.
But I guess you're using money for the crosswalk for the 2024 money, so we can't use that money for.
No, so we'd use a portion of the 2024 funds, but then you can see, so 86,385 is what you have in the 2024 bucket. And change would go to the senior repairs, and then 57,875 would go to the crosswalk. Then in 2025, there's 85,891 in the 2025 bucket. Then the remaining crosswalk funds, the 96,000 and change would come out, and you'd still have unallocated use of 16,000 for 2025 funds, and then another 85,000 for 2026 funds. Does that make sense?
No, it's still a little foggy, so, but I'm just kind of, so you have the 2024 bucket, and you put in the crosswalk, right?
Yeah,
So
but-
we can't use the crosswalk funds for that, the money for
That-
2021?
We could if the project was ready
It's
to be
not done.
bid and signed, but it's not nearly ready. We just approved the dollars for the engineering last week. So it's gonna be, we would never be able to get that project done in time to spend those dollars.
Yeah, Negley has to they'll do a traffic study. You have to have all permits done. And that won't, you talked about
And
Negley.
it
You won't- that
it
probably
doesn't
won't go out
actually
to
end up
bid.
mattering. We could end up approving that project 2 months from now and spending it as soon as practical. It's just that we have to all of these projects are fully funded and we can do them at any time. but some of that money begins to evaporate from us if we don't get it spent. So we have to spend on the projects that are most shovel ready first. That's what.
Yeah, so this is all for construction. So it has to be designed, permitted, out to bid, contractor hired, built, and contract closed before the end of September. And the crosswalk project won't be done. It won't even be,
I'm just, so let me get it straight though. So we bid this project out, they underbid it, and you had alternative things, so we don't have to do any change orders or anything like that. This is all
Correct.
part of the bid.
correct,
So you had all these things in there before,
correct.
and and then it'll be $100,000, so that's the amount that's necessary, or is it gonna, you're
So
gonna
there's
need to pay out
100
of your own pocket for the rest?
No, there's 120 allocated, there's 120 allocated now.
Yeah.
The total senior center project cost, we're estimating to be $220,000. 120 has already been allocated by the borough, like the borough council voted on that last year.
Right.
So so the other 100,000 needs to be allocated from the CDBG, like the borough decides where those CDBG funds are spent. So the borough needs to vote on, hey, we allocated 120,000 CDBG funds to the senior center project. We're gonna allocate another 100,000. That's what I'm asking.
I just wanted to make sure, because we had a project, and then we voted on that, but now you want to do additional things on the project, right? But you put that as an alternative bid, so.
Correct,
So that's the trick, that's what you did on this, so it's not like we're gonna be changing it or doing anything. different.
correct. That's, I don't know if it's a trick and like a negative thing.
Oh, no,
That's the
but
tech, that was the
You covered yourself,
strategy.
You hedged yourself.
Basically, I'm like, well, we have these additional things, we gotta keep things moving. The borough hasn't agreed to this. Let's put those in as add-ons. So we'll get the bids from the contractors, but we don't have to award them. So if the borough, I hope this is not the case, but if next week comes and the borough's like, we're not allocating the additional 100,000, then we won't award the add-ons. So the project would go back to 120,000. We'd award that and then.
Yeah, my concern would just be, you had a grant, but you had the alternative, so it's not like this is something new, this isn't gonna be, we're not changing the project.
There's not-
Nothing outside the scope of it, where we have to do another bid.
Correct, yes, yeah, this is my first review. That's the other thing too, if we talk about like, what if the projects change? In general, you should never have projects that go out of scope in construction before the borough approves the stuff. Like all construction contracts basically say that all change orders and changes need to be approved by the owner first, then the contractor can do the thing. So there's things where you hear about like, well, the thing just went out, like went wild, and that's not what happens. That does not happen. At least does not happen under my watch. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in the world, but it doesn't happen with good engineering, which you have. If I do say, I don't want to sound too much, but this is my first review. We don't let that happen. It's a big deal.
Appreciate it, thank you.
William, or
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, I do it because I want to do it too. So it's a two-way street. I enjoy. It's like whenever you do anything good, you did a good thing. Yeah, you enjoy that. So I appreciate the opportunity to do it and I appreciate the appreciation. Yes, too. So, thank you very much.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay,
Good night.
Hi, everybody. My name is Allison Wind. I'm the Executive Director of the Abington Community Library, just down the street here. And I've been at the library just over 2 years. I'm starting on my 3rd year now. And I've kind of made it a priority to try to get to all of the municipalities in our service areas to try to talk about the library and maybe talk about some things you might not know about the library and what we do there. So I just finished our state report, which I have to do every year. And I made a little infographic that I'll pass around. I think I gave you one, Jen, already.
Yes.
I saw you at the Rotary meeting.
Yes.
But this really just pulls out some of the most interesting things that came out of that report. So including how many things were checked out, Wi-Fi uses, how many programs we had in 2025. We actually offered more than 1,200 programs 2025. And something that really shocked me was the number of visitors we have come through the building every year. I used to go to the library as a kid, and it's kind of fun to be there now as the director and see how many people actually come through the library. So last year in 2025, we welcomed more than 103,000 people through the building. I think that number might be a little bit higher because our door counter isn't totally accurate. I need to have somebody with like a clicker counting people. But I think we're probably closer to more like 110,000, something like that. And I was just shocked by that number. Because I always thought of it as like a little teeny community library, and we are actually the second most visited library in the Lackawanna County Library System. Only second to Scranton, and the Northeast Library District, which is 17 libraries in 5 counties. So I thought those were some of the more interesting things that I discovered from doing the report over the last couple of years. And I really just wanted to get out and share that with people. And then on the other side, there's just some little quotes that people have told us about the library, like, you have a wonderful staff. which we do. So if you haven't been to the library in a while, I would definitely recommend coming back. We also don't have fines anymore, and that's across the whole Lackawanna County Library System. So if you have a book or something sitting in your bed and you're like, I really don't want to bring this back, I'm scared, just bring it back. Your fines will get wiped out. We still do have fines if you do lose something. If you have something that you've been hanging on to for a while and you're a little afraid, bring it back. Bring it back. A couple of other things about the library. Starting Monday, June 1st, we are changing our operating hours up a little bit, just to kind of align us better with the rest of the libraries and the library system and to save us a little bit on utilities. Monday through Thursday will be open 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, we're going to be open 9 to 7 p.m. and then Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 2 to 5. Those are the same on the weekend. So I'm just going to pass around another little flyer with our new hours, and they start on Monday. Another thing that's coming up is NEPA Gives. I'm sure most people are familiar with NEPA Gives. This year, the focus of NEPA Gives for our library is collections. In April, I unexpectedly got the news that almost half of my collection budget was cut. I asked for a certain amount and I got about 40% less than I asked unexpectedly. So this year we really need people to give donations so we can buy more books, DVDs. We also have experience kits. So you can come to the library, we buy all sorts of things. Like we have bongo drums, we have a ukulele, things like that you can check out. So it's not just books. So any of those things for NEPA Gives, if you would donate for that, would be lovely. So I'll pass that around too, share with other library lovers. And then finally, the next big thing that's coming up in June is Summer Quest, which is our summer reading program. And this is for all ages. So the library's for everybody. So we have children's, adults, and teen programming that starts June 22nd. So I have programs information here for all ages, and then a little Summer Quest preview that I'll pass around. And yeah, so I'm just going around to kind of all the municipalities to kind of just share information. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them, or feel free to just stop by the library and knock on my door. Either answer any library questions you have.
Allison, this is quite a few years back. Our library was on School Street.
Yes.
And it was just a great house.
Yes.
Nothing like
And the new, well, the new, now it's 35 years old, opened.
exactly.
And my mom, we lived in Titanic, and my mom was like, oh, we should go visit that library, because we're all library nerds.
Sure.
Our family, so we came to visit, and I feel like it's become almost like a destination for a lot of people. We have people coming not just from the area, but
Sure.
people coming from far away, Bradford County, just to come to the Abington Library.
It's very encouraging.
It is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I will just consider.
I didn't know if.
So I anticipate having that sign, that's what we're doing. He anticipates having about 2 days booked off to do the removal. So once that's signed, hopefully this week, we're looking at probably sometime in early mid-June to do that. But like I said, he's reviewing that agreement. I think anticipates about 2 days, and we're trying to line that up with the electrical as well, so that we're making fewer trips to the property that needs to get it coordinated with the property.
Right.
Any chance we might be able to vote on it next week?
As far as the clock tower,
Yeah.
like I said, it's simply just a transfer of the clock tower to Mr. Parasol pursuant to the vote that occurred last week.
Right.
And the agreement would just be, Mr. Parasol, agreed to take liability for that clock tower as discussed.
And also, I believe the Fazio family is very comfortable with having. It's there. So that also is.
And I guess the other part would be he's not gonna repair it, we'll repair it, but he'll take down the concrete, or is that something?
So the agreement that was voted on last week or last meeting that Mr. Parasol proposed was he was going to do the removal of the concrete, all the work to the property, except for the electrical,
Right,
which is on the agenda this evening. So he'll be removing the concrete, he'll be taking the sod back down, restoring that property to its original condition prior to the 1986 agreement.
yeah, but that's not part of the agreement, though, this is what is gonna happen, taking ownership and liability.
The clock tower agreement with him is solely just the waiver of liability for the borough and an agreement to transfer the property to Mr. Parasol. So it's essentially just kind of a legal agreement to hold the borough, basically hold him harmless of any liability for that once he takes ownership of that from that site.
It's still very generous of him, so.
Yes.
Yes, we do have the new quote of 6,700. I did talk to Mr. Walsh about this. And due to the cost of his employees and the materials, it did go up. It was 1,300, I think. It did go up, and he's not able to bring that back down. So that would be the agreement, is $6,700.
Exactly.
And we budgeted for substantially more than that.
With the clock tower removal, right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And when initially we did this last year, you spoke to other contractors
Yes.
and he's reputable. And
Absolutely. Yes,
He'll do a
yes,
good job.
correct. Yes, he has. He's done a lot of good work. The company's done a lot of work at the borough. Good job. Yep, I'm confident.
This is our OMP SRO.
So should there be a motion next week? I think that's ready to be voted on.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's done that, the diocese has been in agreement with the MOU as well as
Right.
the subsequent agreement relative to the police department, so.
Right.
Ready to vote next week, I think that's right to be voted on.
Okay. Thank you. Next is the West Grove Street sidewalk.
That was sent over to the district. I still have not heard back from them. They had some pushback that we talked about. So we're still kind of in limbo on that, as it pertains to both sides of that bridge. I know that Josh was in contact previously.
He's. Get it resolved.
Yeah, I can send a follow-up email and see if their solicitor has any other opinions on it.
Sure.
To know that initially, like I said, last meeting, they had a little pushback about not really using our equipment as much and,
Right.
that prior agreement kind of being a verbal agreement that no one who's involved had any information on. So, I'll follow up this week again, see what, if any movement on their end or conversations that they had, but there's still nothing as of last discussion.
Sure. It just, it's so smooth, so. But that might be another option.
So we had the second civil service test for the one gentleman, as I said, who was deployed. So he came back, he did take it. I'm waiting for the results to come back, and then we'll get our final list of where the officers fell in line with their testing. And then we would continue from there with the oral exam, physical, a lot of hoops to jump through, but we want to kind of try to get them done as quickly as possible
Oh, sure.
for council to be able to vote.
Do you have any estimate when the results would be finalized?
I'm hoping to get I got the first 6 test results back. It's the last one I'm waiting for, but I hope it will be soon.
Would it be sort of like 60, 90 days, you think, or is that?
Oh, I would think we might get it back within a week or 2.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be okay. And then I'll get everything else scheduled. So hopefully we can just keep it moving.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you, Jim. Then, Blue's, regionalization. We have our officers there.
Alex. I haven't heard
With
anything
his
more.
lip sealed, huh?
I haven't heard anything more. I know
Yeah.
the chiefs met and that's where we are right now. Josh would have had an update, but I don't know that there is any
Exactly, yeah.
that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. Then, the America 250 sculpture.
I got the receipts today from Mark Schiffer. With, yep, I have all the receipts. It comes to $424.14. I apologize, $587.71 that he is asking for, to be reimbursed.
These are out of pocket expenses, and he's not billing us for any of his time or expertise or
Absolutely.
anything. It's just
Right,
to
you
get the
got
money
that. Mhm.
he forwarded.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Yep. Fuel and supplies. They had so many things donated and his time and everything else that was donated, so,
So we'll be able to vote on that next week. Thank you.
sure, yep, absolutely.
Thank you. Next is Kevin Mikowskis, police chief contract.
So I just drafted this, sent it out, any changes, like I said, you know, that council wants some sort of contract, right?
Right.
I'm not sure, I mean, is that it's like a final, like, I mean, it's an executive session type thing, but has council or the personnel committee met with Kevin?
We met with him
We,
today. yeah.
we met with them and we did go over the contract with them. He brought up some points and we had some too, but
Okay, so it's still in discussion, so,
it's still in
we probably
discussion
should-
and he's got to bring it to his labor attorney too.
Right.
okay, so.
But it's looking very good. And of course, the only issue we had.
I mean, I don't know if you want to discuss this publicly or in
No, I-
executive session, it's whatever you want.
Well, we'll leave it where it is, right?
We can do an executive session at the close of the meeting if you want to.
But I just wanted to see if it was final, but it looks like
No,
it's
it's
still,
not-
it's still
it's not
working on
final.
it.
Still working on
This is the initial draft.
And certainly we would, our hopes are to have it all finalized so that we can vote on it next week.
I think if that's the case, especially with the timeline that council's
Yeah.
on relative to the transition.
Yeah.
That executive session to discuss the labor and, potential employment.
is our Center Street.
So, we did receive, the documents. They're not actual easements, they're signed agreements from the residents. And it just lets us move forward with the Center Street, the grant that we're looking for, the $300,000 grant.
Right.
We have one person, he hasn't gotten back to me. Bob was able to get the gentleman's email. I sent him an email. I've reached out any which way I can and he hasn't responded. So we have all but that one person. So Mike, Fennick with Holwell Negley will be by the end of the week, putting this application in for review. And if we get anything from this gentleman, we could just forward that.
Okay,
So we're all on the same page with that. It's going well.
very good, thank you, Tony. And that's just, section 504 documents.
Yeah, so the section 504, like we talked about last week, it just appoints, appointed Jen at the last meeting.
Yeah.
As the
Yeah.
504. So documents that I'll provide to council, there's simply just a template document that we will have, at the desk for anyone who wishes to proceed on that.
Sure. It's going in a good direction too. Summer sources, special exams.
I looked over it. Everything seems to be in order. Chris Yarns looked over it. Also, he gave it his approval. He has no issue with it. So, so that's all in here.
What's the date of that, Jim? Do you have that?
Date of event, June 20th,
Oh,
9 AM to 5 PM.
you want, Build America 250 Act.
Did you want to speak to this? You had sent an email. This was the email you had sent back. This was the U.S. House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you had sent this email.
Oh, that's the thing you sent out? I'm sorry.
It is.
Is that, I wasn't, okay, so this was an email sent out, from this group. I looked it over. It's about, they do work with railroads, commercial railroads. They're nonpartisan.
Yeah,
Congressman Bresnahan is on the committee. I think they said they needed it like within a week or so. I didn't know if, so the email, I think it was sent out to council.
Correct. I just wanted to make sure, just to forward all this to council, that you had taken the draft that they put together and sent this out.
Oh, yeah, I didn't, was that something, I thought that was something we just individually did. Because there wasn't anything on the email saying this was gonna be on the agenda or not. So I think it was needed to be responded to within a week because they were doing markup in Congress.
Okay, I just wanted to really inform council
Yeah.
what was going on. I didn't hear any replies besides yourself.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if is that something council wants to do? I mean, I assume that was just something, I think it was sent to all members of council, the solicitor and the mayor.
Okay.
I wrote that on behalf of myself.
Yes.
Does the council want to take an action with that, or we just, I think it may be a moot point now already?
I think it's already nailed down. We don't have to take a vote on it.
No, I mean, it's, because there's an email saying it's like, they asked if anyone, leaders of the community or something like that, had a form letter, so I responded to it as myself, as an individual, not on behalf of council.
Right.
I don't know if council wants to act on behalf of the
No, I
community.
think we should just keep moving forward.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
And then, handicap door.
Yes, so I just got this information today, so we would be working with Highland Associates. This is something that, Mark Spatz had also brought up. We are, talking about the door down in the vestibule by the elevator to have an automatic door. So we have, the scope of the project we originally had from 2024 was, I believe it was $4,500 from MESCO. But it is going to end up, that amount is gonna end up, being a larger amount. We have to bid it out, and then, I'm sorry, when I say we, CDBG, Durwovinsky will put this bid out, so then we would get bids in for this and see who we end up with. But this is work that we have 8,000. It's 8,000 and change, 8,500 or so that we have to spend on it. The additional cost is the $3,000 from Highland Associates because the CDBG grants do not pay for, the engineering costs. So it would cost 3,000. We would hopefully have a bid within that 8,500 range. And then we can get that door fixed to be handicap accessible. So we've been
Based on
talking
what
about
Mark
this.
said, I mean, it sounds like we have plenty of CDP.
We do. Thank goodness. And we actually have something we could use. So
Exactly.
this fell through years ago. I don't remember exactly what happened. I remember hearing about it. So this would be a good thing to have at the borough.
And we have an obligation to be handicap accessible. So.
Yes, yeah. So this is a good thing to do and the right time to do it.
This is a good thing, because when we're coming in tonight, we're talking about the handles coming
You're
out
right.
the door.
I know that door
Exactly,
goes through heck, absolutely. Yep. So I apologize. So at the next meeting, council would need to sign, to authorize this with Highland Associates. That is to authorize, them to move forward. Yep, the authorization form of agreement, I have that in your packet, so that would need to be signed, agreed to and signed.
So that would be them like preparing the project for approval,
You have to move forward to get the bid ready and yes,
but
absolutely.
we're pretty sure it'll get approved, all right? That's,
Yeah, through CDBG, it does count. Yep. So like I said, it's interesting to finally get something that the borough can use the money for, so. Yep, so that'll be for the next meeting.
I just wanted to, make everyone aware that on Saturday at 2:00, we're gonna be doing the dedication for Liberty Bell. And we also have Judge Tom Mondays to speak. I'm very happy we canceled it from a Saturday at 2:00. So any council members or family, spread the word, we want to have a good turnout for it.
and also we're gonna start marketing for Clark Summit Day with the Rail Riders. That's gonna be August 23rd. It's a Sunday game at 1:30. We're gonna, I guess, Stacy Lang, from WNEP, I guess she's a native of the Abington. She went to Abington High School. She was Miss Comet. She and her family are gonna participate in it. And Mrs. Carey has graciously agreed to throw out the first pitch.
I've been practicing.
I know, you're pretty good at it.
That's great. That's gonna be another good event too.
So tickets will be discounted and you can get them on the webpage.
Oh, yeah.
When you get that, I assume you send it to.
Yeah, I've heard from Tony, so he's gonna send over like that little
Yes,
QR code, I think it is,
Yes,
and then you can put that on the web.
excellent, okay.
Now, Bob, did you remember the one year we gave out the small little flags?
Yeah. Those were great. Actually, my kids go to Clark Summit Elementary, and a couple of their teachers have them hanging in their classrooms.
Yeah, I was telling Jim, I remember what year it was. That we did it. But, should we look into that, doing something like that again?
Yeah, in years past, we've always had like a little table and given out like keychains or little flags or something like that.
Right, yeah,
And people really like that.
they definitely did, so.
I don't know if we have
work on
any,
that.
anything laying around or anything.
We don't, but we were looking online, it's Oriental Trading, it's that magazine where they have absolutely everything you
Yeah,
could possibly
oh,
want.
yeah,
And we could put the boroughs, we were looking at keychains, depends, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's something maybe we could look into, kind of get an estimate on the cost, if it's not too extravagant.
I'm sure you did, absolutely.
I thought the flags were nice, because other sizes come some of them. Stuff like that.
These are the flags that you put on the metal frame kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, we could look into it, see how much.
Yeah.
Put the borough logo and we could do that.
Yeah.
Teaching from years ago just broke.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That sounds good. Does anybody have? Look for a doodle.
Even just a quick executive session.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay, we're not just going to recess next week.
That's what we're talking about next week.
Right.
We're gonna vote on it next week, hopefully.
We're talking about that, if there, we're talking about two different things. Kevin's contract is the one thing we're talking about, the other is a new officer and the civil service that we're talking about.
Right.
Correct. So I will log us off. Here, do we want to adjourn?
Oh, I'm gonna do a
Motion
motion.
to adjourn?
Do we have to vote on anything for that grant, or is that already taken care of? You have all the paperwork.
We already
you
voted
need?
on it. You mean for the Center Street?
Yeah.
We voted, council voted on a resolution for that
Perfect.
already. Yep.
Very-
Yep. So we're good to adjourn? Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Let me log off line, Jerry.